Okay, so what is today's topic of conversation?
Today's topic is the the path of singularity.
What is singularity?
Singularity is to be very singular in following whatever you are doing. Here in this context, it means being a devotee of truth and a child of abstraction because uh, the vortex is not something that can be described as singular, and yet the way into the vortex is a, a path of singularity, which is truth. It is fueled by truth, its objective is truth, its lifeblood is truth, and its focus is truth. That is the path of singularity. It is through the living of the live aspect of truth, one's own, okay, and also in the interactivity of experience, which could be of the matrix or the vortex kind, one remains completely and utterly devoted to truth. That is singularity. And it is through this singularity that we create a pathway into consciousness which is beyond our the consciousness of being in a physical body, for instance, or the consciousness of our mental constructs, or the consciousness of our instinct of survival. This is a different kind of consciousness. The consciousness I am referring to here is the mother of all consciousness. Okay?
Hmm.
We can call it divine consciousness, we can call it cosmic consciousness, and this can only be reached by truth. Therefore, to be a devotee of truth and a child of abstraction is something which amalgamates through the nature of experience into the abstraction of consciousness, let's say super consciousness. By super consciousness, I mean that state or that stage of consciousness which is non individuated. That means it does not belong to me or you or anyone. It is a universal consciousness.
Okay. Have you experienced this super consciousness?
You see,
Or maybe had like a moment or a glimpse into it or something?
super consciousness is something which could be called grace
Hmm. Hmm.
in Christian terminology.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, it could be called grace because it is not engineered by me.
Right.
Okay,
Hmm.
it is not a methodical approach to anything. It is an occurrence. It is self arising. Okay,
Okay.
one cannot even say if it is arising from myself or if it is arising from beyond myself. Okay,
Hmm.
so it is a very hard to pin down description,
Hmm.
which should actually not be attempted to be described. It would be a mistake. Yet, how do you know that to some extent you are surfing the tides of superconsciousness? Uh, it simply is that you're no longer living in fear
Hmm. Hmm.
and you're no longer living in a projected worldview, which means that We are living in the present moment. If we want to connect with infinity, we have to know what it is to be alive in the present moment, alive to the present moment. Because infinity does not, the breath of infinity belongs to the present, not to the dead past, or the a future which is also dead because it hasn't happened. We have to learn how to be in the moment and tap into its liveness.
Okay. Um, how does one um, maybe go through this without interpreting it uh, through the ego? Because I think
You'll
the
have to
ego
speak a
can
bit louder. I can't hear you. How does one interpret?
interpret this experience without in a non-egoic way.
The whole thing is that we do not use the interpretive mechanism that we have been educated in, okay, in the esoteric field. Esotericism is understanding the nature of spirit, my spirit, as well as the greater spirit, okay, um, or the higher principle or of existence, okay, or source energy, whatever you may call it. Uh, Esotericism is understanding the nature of that. And in that, we do not try to label, classify, understand, slot. That is the comfort of the matrix reality.
Or of the known reality.
Yes,
Hmm.
known and matrix are the same.
Hmm. Hmm.
Here we have to free fall in the unknown. We
Okay.
have to know how to free fall. That is why it is only when we become fearless can we undertake the free fall. Until we are fearless, we will remain within the confines of an egoic interpretation of everything, which means that even if we have an esoteric or a mystical experience,
Hmm.
we will lose it by confining it to an ego construct.
Okay. How can we bridge the gap between the matrix reality and, let's say, super consciousness? Because we also have to be involved in the known reality, but at the same time, does it run do they run side by side, or and how can we keep the balance?
Right. See, the matrix reality is clearly a dualistic reality. Okay,
Hmm.
it is it is a reality where you have are functioning in opposites. Okay, and that is because you are engaging with this matrix reality through your body mind physical self.
Hmm.
Okay, so the dualistic aspect arises when we are you know uh, dealing with a reality through an illusory reality which is reflected through our illusory sense of self, which is ego.
Hmm.
Okay, this may be a bit abstract for people to relate to, but the fact of the matter is that in the matrix there is it is a funny kind of paradoxical reality because it is um, it is the field of the known, and yet it is rife with uncertainty, right? It is a field of the known rife with uncertainty wherein you are born only to die in the physical,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So there is that aspect of uncertainty. Whatever you undertake, there is uncertainty. And so it is a paradoxical mimicry of the vortex, wherein in the matrix, knowing you do not know,
Hmm.
and in the vortex, you are in the field not of uncertainty but of the unknown, right?
Hmm.
And yet, when you become, let's say, familiar with the unknown and its ways, there is a certain knowing that comes out of the vortex, right? Which is what quells fear. Matrix, you are always struggling to be certain, but you're uncertain and there is fear.
Hmm.
Vortex, you are taking a free fall into the unknown and there is no fear. These are paradoxical realities
Right. Yeah.
of two different existential dimensions
Hmm.
that we can scale.
Hmm.
Now, how do we bridge the gap between these two? Is to become, I mean, we cannot deny that we have a body and that we have to survive and
And
exist
that there
and
is
be
ego
comfortable.
and
And there
the
is ego
mind
and there
and
is mind
yeah.
and all of that.
Yeah.
We cannot deny that. And yet, we can still um partake in the free fall of the vortex reality, okay, and become fearless. And through that fearlessness and that knowing of an unknowing, we can traverse the uncertainty of the matrix reality. So we carry forward our knowing of the unknowing, okay, into the uncertainty of the matrix reality, thereby culling the fear that arises only through that singular dimension of the matrix where uncertainty dominates and creates fear.
Okay.
Okay, so the whole thing is to take that consciousness from the vortex into the matrix and live the matrix reality through that consciousness, right?
Hmm.
Where the energy of fear dominates and you are fearless, what bigger luxury would there be?
Right.
You know, so that can only be that can only happen when you have acquired that portion of vortex consciousness
Hmm.
and you're using that alternate currency in the matrix field, maintaining your equilibrium through that sense of immortality, so that mortality doesn't attack you in the same way. And by doing that, you are a different frequency being
Hmm.
walking in the matrix minefield. Is that all your questions for the moment?
Yep.
Okay.